My name's Clara George. I'm a senior engineer at Elementa Consulting. Elementa Consulting are part of the wider Integral group globally, and so we've been working with World GBC and UK GBC on the projects that both have just been presented. So I am here to talk to you about LETI, the London Energy Transformation Initiative, which is a group that we set up about 2 years ago. So LETI is a group of voluntary built environment professionals. About 700 professionals have been involved in London and 300 professionals deeply involved. And we were put together 2 years ago to put together recommendations for two key pieces of policy, the Draft London Plan and the Draft Environment Strategy. So we held a series of workshops, we had some debates, we had a task force that then set up different working groups. We made sure that everyone was on board, we built consensus, we got industry bodies to sign up to what we were putting forward to the GLA. Oh, God. We published papers that ratcheted closer and closer to what we thought policy should be to enable a zero carbon London. And I was quite surprised, but we've been really successful. You know, for a group that's only been working for about 6 months until the Draft London Plan was put together for consultation, we had a huge impact. And here are a few of the things that we've been lobbying for that are in the new emerging policy. I'll talk about a few of them. I think the one that's the most important is this be seen element to the hierarchy. So I'm not sure if you are all aware of the London Plan, but we have be green, be clean, be lean, be clean and be green. And now we have a be seen element, which means that all buildings for 5 years will need to publicly disclose their energy consumption. This is really important because it's key to actually understand how our buildings are performing so that we can look to get them to zero. Another key piece is thinking about whole life carbon, as Richard was talking. So now new referable schemes are going to have to calculate whole life carbon as part of their planning statement, so that's really exciting. That's going to force the industry to actually get to grips with whole life carbon for once, which is really good. Another thing is the carbon factors. For those of you that are a bit less technical, for the last 5 years we've been using out-of-date carbon factors to make decisions on which systems we're selecting, which isn't very good. So the London is kind of leading the way and has adopted different carbon factors to building regulations to make decisions, which is really key. And a zero carbon plan is another really key one. So all developments, if they're not zero carbon when they're built, they need to have a robust plan in place so they know how they're going to get to zero carbon by 2050. This is really important, otherwise we're going to be building buildings that need to have deep refurbishment in 10 or 20 years' time. There are a few more here, but I won't go into them. But you can go on the LETI website, www.leti.london, to find out more information. So, for the first year and a half, our group were focusing on lobbying the GLA. And to be honest with you, it's really easy to say, you've got it wrong, or you need to change your regulation. And then we started thinking, but what about ourselves? I mean, we are all industry professionals here, and we all have our part to play. So we started developing what we've called the LETI Declaration, which is a kind of tool that design teams can use to try and get their buildings to operational zero carbon. I won't, again, go to the website if you want some more information on that. So we thought we'd done a pretty good thing in a year and a half, lobbied for policy, done this new tool, and then in September, October, we had the kind of big news from the IPCC, and it wasn't new news, you know, but it kind of hit home again. Oh gosh, are we doing enough? And a bit like what Matt was saying earlier, am I doing enough? You know, when I look back on my career, and hopefully we'll all still be alive because we will have made these changes, and climate change won't have had as much of an impact as it could have, will I think that we've done the most that we could do? This is a really great slide by the BBP, Better Buildings Partnership, and I don't know if you're aware, but how we judge the environmental performance of our buildings currently is through EPCs, A being the best and G being the worst. The BBP have done some great analysis on actually the energy consumption of buildings at the different EPC ratings, and you can see there is a very slight correlation, but we'd like that correlation to be much better, and we need to start to analyse and understand our buildings in a different way, and hopefully energy use disclosure that's just come in terms of London Plan policy will help to achieve that. So we've got a far way to go. So we're in 2019 at the moment, and along with UK GBC and World GBC, At Letty, we really believe that all new buildings need to be net zero by 2030. And then we think, oh, that's quite far away. We can relax, you can go on holiday. But actually, it takes 5 years to design and build and occupy a building. So we need to make sure, that 100% of buildings are designed at net zero by 2025. And for that to take market uptake, this means that pretty much by 2020, which is next year, we need to know what we're doing. We need to have defined net zero. For me, net zero is a building that meets our climate change targets. And we need to, we need to know what that is, and we need to start to design our buildings in that way. And that also, that means we have, now a bit less, so 12 months or 9 months to go to find out what that is. So that's quite a huge task. But as part of Letty, we've decided that our ambition this year is to publish technical guidance on what this means. It's also really important that we work out what that is now, because it means that we've got 5 years of time to test that hypothesis. So what are we going to do about it? We've set up 7 working groups that are focusing on key areas that are being brought together for this technical guidance. One of them is net zero carbon, and we're collaborating with UKGBC on the work that Richard just told you about. We've also got a group on whole life carbon that's grappling with that, thinking about how we can make it easier for industry to understand the kind of different levers that you've got to pull, the big impacts in terms of whole life carbon. We've got a group focusing on data disclosure, giving recommendations to the GLA about what data should be disclosed. We've got teams looking into benchmarking and methodology. We've got other groups looking at demand management, which is really key in decarbonising heating. So we've got a rough timetable of how that's all going to lead together into our publication in December. So I guess what I want to say is we really do have to work together. We have to radically change how we design construction occupier buildings. But I really do believe that if we work together, we can get there. So I'd really love it if all of you who are interested went onto the website that you can't quite see, I'm not quite sure why, but it's www.letty.london, and you can sign up to our mailing list. We've got a workshop this coming Monday on net zero carbon to feed into UKGBC work, so if you're interested in attending, please do come and see me afterwards.